that'd be super fun.
Yeah.
It's on beach.
Yeah,
It's on beach
I
one
never
time.
tried sand dunes before.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
It's scary though, because there's cliffs that you don't know on the other side. It's just straight.
But it's like empty too. Like you can get lost, like the sense of direction.
See,
like,
that was the thing that I was scared of. I was worried that
because there's no like map or something you're
Yeah.
gonna go
Yeah.
to.
Wait, we,
No,
all
it
All
gets
right, I
scary.
think we're
Are
live.
we live? Are we live?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Welcome,
All right.
welcome.
All right.
This is
Another
our
we got another podcast here.
weekly podcast.
one.
Yeah, weekly podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in.
All right. So how's your guys' day?
Today was good. We got some news that we are promoting 4 brand new RVPs
nice.
this weekend.
Nice.
Congratulations.
RVPs.
Let me see if I remember the button here. There you go.
Yeah, dude. An audience up in here.
Getting used to it.
Right.
I think we're also popping bottles here. Oh no, that's different.
Yeah, but yeah, four RVPs, man. That's a feat. In the company itself, it's not easy to be an RVP, but
Yeah.
you're just promoting
Yeah.
4. So
But
that team is doing
The
good.
cool thing about it is, in our company, we can do it faster
Oh yeah,
and easier.
yeah.
A lot easier.
Yeah, way easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We have
that's
actually
the beauty.
the youngest RVP.
Oh yeah, you were telling about us. 20,
He did it. In, how
20
many
years old?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not the youngest, because the youngest is Javen, right?
yeah. But now he's technically
The
youngest because 20.
So, how long did it take him? It took him less than a month, huh?
Yeah, because I met him probably 2 weeks,
Yeah,
3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, less than a month, he's gonna be an RVP.
Wow. That's a
Pretty
big
fast.
step.
Yeah, and he's only 20.
And he's
Only
not
20.
licensed yet, right?
I'm not sure. I gotta find out. I think he might be working on it, but I'm not sure if he's actually licensed.
But that's cool though, because at least he's an RVP now. Once he gets his license, he
Yep.
doesn't have to start from the bottom.
I wish I started that age, man. I started
I
at
know.
20.
He started at 25.
No, I started 25.
Just imagine
20.
you were 20 years old and you're an equity share point holder.
Yeah, dude. Like that's the
That's
dream.
dope.
That's the dream. See, and that's the thing that we gotta really instill
Yep.
with a lot of the agents. It's really about equity share points.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because you can already bank on it. Like you've been accumulating that for that long, and then once you get paid again, that's a big chunk of bonus.
I still remember that last year, dude. Like, how'd you guys feel about that? Like, was it like surreal for you guys? It's
Yeah,
still, like,
well,
ESP thing?
one, it's up in the air at the time. Of course, equity share points can happen or not.
Yep.
Second is it's COVID.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Because I remember the event was supposed to be earlier than December, right? And it got pushed back
That's right.
because
That's
of like
right.
COVID and
So it's
stuff.
supposed to be like the beginning of that year.
At the beginning of that year,
Yeah, and then it got pushed back.
with the whole lockdowns and everything.
Yeah, because like everybody got excited. Oh, ESP is gonna get paid, and then COVID happens, and
Yeah.
then we're not sure. And with everything's going on, company shutting down, things like that.
Right.
So it's kind of like up in the air. Like, okay, we came to a point like if we get paid, that's good. If not, it's okay too, because
Yeah.
it's a free money.
Yeah.
And then they announced the December one, the event. Then we went to Dallas at the time, which also at the time was kind of awkward too, because I was telling Fred too, because like it's the first time like everybody was in live event, and used to be like Zoom, and nobody's really out.
Yeah.
I remember like when we started, like everybody's like really spaced out.
Yeah,
Like,
we were.
Nobody wants to talk to anyone.
Yeah. All worried.
All the mask on and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to catch anything here.
I didn't get to go to that one, but
Oh, dude, but that thing
The
was
second one for
freaking
sure, I'll go.
fun, man. It was fun. It was fun.
I saw the video. Someone sent me a video of the outside.
Oh, dude, the outside was dope.
Yeah,
dude.
I had-
At Freedom Equity Group, right on the on that hotel itself.
Yeah, the outside of the hotel, because I think there's lights outside, and they spelled Freedom Equity Group outside, and you can see it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
All
then
over the whole hotel, dude.
Is that hotel nice?
Oh, it's nice.
yeah, and then when you get
Really
in,
nice.
everything you see is like FEG brand everywhere.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I liked how
I think
they
we
did
should
it.
do that in Vegas.
Dude, that was a really nice event.
Yeah,
Like Vegas should have FEG everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you check in the lobby.
but I think it's gonna be the biggest convention ever, because we used to go to Red Rock before, and we usually full capacity that hotel, and then
Wow.
now we moved to Caesar, and
That's
a larger
bigger.
event. And
Oh yeah.
And then we talked about it last couple of weeks too. Like, FEG have been starting to add more rooms or overflow rooms, right? That's how they call it.
Yep.
And there's like few spaces left now.
Yeah. And now even the discounted hotel rooms are now already sold out too.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a pack event.
Man, I don't even know if I got mine.
Just hopefully
Yeah,
we don't nothing changed from now till.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of figure out like, it's what now? It's August. It's August. All
Yeah.
these different like obstacles that went through, obstacles of like the ESP getting delayed, but it
Yeah.
actually happened in
Yeah.
December. We got paid out. Everybody got paid out. People thought that wasn't gonna happen. It happened. Obstacles about like the convention. We couldn't do it last year. And now it's coming up, and with all these things coming up. That's actually we should talk about like a lot of these different obstacles. That's a lot of these entrepreneurships are gonna face. I think that's gonna be one of the good things that we should be going over
That's true.
this afternoon.
So like like everybody, our viewers, our listeners has been seeing this one. The goal of the podcast is at least not just a success story or seeing someone that you already made it there, but what's happening behind the scene, or what are you going through, or the obstacles, the issue, in some way and somehow. And this is I think one of the biggest thing in our industry. It's not the product, the product plays a good role, but we have good products, we have good system, we have good company. But what really sells here in the business is your story.
Yep.
Right.
Guys, definitely.
Because a lot of times people can attach to that story. Like last couple of weeks, we had a guest and client, which she shared about her story about cancer, and a lot of people can actually relate on that story too.
Definitely.
So talking about obstacles, and one of the big things, I think the obstacles that especially for someone that's starting in this business, in this industry, or when you presented someone, most of the time the number one obstacle that comes out is time. Exactly. I don't have time to do this. I already have things that I'm doing. I'm already preoccupied, family, kids, job. I'm trying to balance everything. How can I even include this business in that schedule? Right? Have you guys had that issue too before?
I mean, it's every day, like, I mean, like even us, we talk about like something that actually earlier we even just talked about it. Like if you got to make time for the thing that really matters to you.
Yeah.
And for some people, maybe the opportunity for them is their first time seeing it, and they don't see the real value yet. So a lot of it, when we talk about like time management, a lot of these new agents that come up, they go ahead and go see, what? Okay, this is an opportunity that I want to do. But the thing is, why we always say the fortune is in the follow up. When you follow up with that agent, you've got to figure out like what's their time schedule.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna make it or break it, for a lot of these people, because they have a full-time job.
Yeah.
You work from, let's say, from 9 to 5 or 9 to 4, whatever it may be, and you come home, you're just tired. You just want to go ahead and rest.
Exactly.
And that's a big obstacle for a lot of people. But if you think about it, the stories here in our company, a lot of these agents, they had a full-time job.
Yep.
Yes.
Had a full-time job. They had a full-time job.
Yeah.
And they were doing, FEG part-time.
Yep.
Now they're the top earners in the company. And you figure out how did they do it,
Yeah. And now they replace their income, and they were able to quit their job and do this full time.
Yep.
And
then
have more time,
Yeah, more time. Actually have more time for the family. I mean, that's the biggest obstacle when you do the business and you're working. Then you're like, the extra time that you have for your family, you're going to have to put into the business.
Yeah.
The good thing is that when they decided or they started looking towards the business and getting really serious and making good income, now they just have the business, and then they have enough time for their family, or more than enough.
Yeah, speaking of that one, because you brought up the family, I remember when we ever first started this podcast, and then we talk about your goals and whys. You guys, of course, you mentioned, you guys have been doing this because of family. You guys have both kids, and wife. So let's talk about something like that, because I think it's really important for people to see as well. Like, at first, for sure, it was a struggle to balance things. It's like a normal job and family, right? It's hard to balance time. And now that you have doing the business, and the family, how do you guys balance it? So, and I know you've worked before actually doing the business, right? So that's another thing you add to your plate with all your busy schedule already, right? So how did you balance working before and then your growing family at the time, and I know that time you were starting, your kids as well, and then adding FEG on top of that, the business, and then eventually how did you transition to just doing FEG?
Actually, that's a good thing to go ahead and talk about, because a lot of the stories that the success stories that we talk about here, people don't know about the obstacles. So let's go ahead and talk about, like, I was doing like a full-time job. I actually didn't even see like me working this industry with FEG beginning, like doing this actually full-time. So I was like, you know what, let me just start this, part-time, let me just go and feel it out. You're talking about, like, until you start making income. Well, that's one of the things that I was figuring out. Like, I was like, you know what, let me see, like, if this makes money, let me go ahead and try it. See, I firmly believe that if you are just trying something and you're not gonna commit to it, you're not gonna make a lot of money from it. Yes, sure, you're gonna make, like, maybe a few grand, a few dollars here and there. The thing is, what makes it different for me was, what happened was I made a big check, and that trial of the business started to become more of like, okay, this is passion. And when you're trying to describe passion to somebody, like, everybody has a different definition of passion. You cannot, when you're trying to explain what your passion is, like, how can you be passionate for that thing?
Yeah.
There was a movie, I actually really liked it. It was like on top 10 on Netflix, called The Vault. I don't know if you guys have seen that on there.
Oh yeah, I just recently watched that one.
Oh, dude.
I haven't seen
that. And he talks about, and there was one thing that he really made a good point. One of the main characters, I'm sorry, this is a spoiler.
No, don't worry.
But, he talks about, talking about passion for, like, football or soccer for us Americans. Football, where, all of these people are in a crowd, they're on a stage. They're watching people that they don't even know, but they're so passionate about that sport or about that team. So, and the thing is, you can't really describe passion. Everyone has a different definition of passion. Yeah. So for me, it became more of like, I made money on here. That trial became a passion for me. Like, man, I can actually make money here. Yep. So as I was trying to make money, I started to calculate, okay, I have a full-time job here. I'm making this much money. I'm doing this part-time. I'm making this much money. Now, what if I started to put more time from here, my full-time, into something that I was just doing as a trial? Would I make more money here? So that was the biggest obstacle I had to figure out. Like, should I just let this go? Or just stop that or work here? Okay?
That's true.
And that time too, one of my obstacles, like, I was planning on getting married. Like, should I just go ahead and, at that time it was, she was my fiance, right? When I joined, my fiance.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, it was my fiance. And I got married actually, I think about 4 months later. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out, maybe I should put more time here in the company because it's actually making good money.
Yeah.
So when you got married, was that already full time? You decided to do full time or no?
No, I was still technically part time because that was July of 2016.
Oh, okay.
So I was figuring, like, okay, I was trying to transition already. And I started, doing less now here. I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna stop. Like around like the third quarter of that year, so I'm gonna stop and go full time FEG. That's when we finally, at the end of that year, is when we finally hit the ESP, the $100,000 ring. And that time, when we finally did, I'm going this full time. So I stopped everything. And then we come to find out that my wife's pregnant, and we're gonna have our first kid, right? See, now that's another obstacle. Now I'm trying to figure out, like, the first year when I started to do this full time, I have a lot of time to really spend in this company, to build, to grow, to sell, to grow a team. Yeah. And then once you have that new child, you're just gonna be like, man, I don't have that much time anymore.
Yeah,
and here's the thing though, like, we have a lot of new parents that join our company.
Yeah.
And
single parents.
Yeah. And sometimes, a lot of the newer ones that are coming up, they're not gonna see the struggles behind the scenes of a lot of these agents. They just see that,
they're already stable.
They're making 200,000. They're making 300,000.
They're already there.
Yeah, they're already there. But they don't see, like, the scheduling that you have to do.
Yeah. Right.
And the good thing here, and the reason why I love this topic about obstacles, is that a lot of these agents, they get to see now, like, okay, I'm not the only one that's, going
Been
through
through,
this.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not, I've been through that, or I'm not the only one going through this. There's other agents that's doing it for myself. Like, for me, it was so difficult. Like, I have to figure out, and luckily, fortunately for me, like with me and my kids, they have two parents. It's not just a single parent.
Yeah.
There's two parents for us. So there's that support that we can, like, for example, I'll just tell my wife, can you watch the kids while I have a meeting? And it's difficult, guys. It's not easy. It's not easy. Like, at that time, my wife was still working full time.
Mm-hmm.
She's still working full time at that time. And she was, we can't just say, oh, I have a meeting during the day. You're working, can you watch the kids during the day?
Yeah.
No, I've got to go and bring them, or I've got to cancel that meeting and move it to a time
that you can do it.
that I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
I-
a good thing about the business. I mean, you can definitely, that's very flexible.
Yes.
And you have that ability. You have the ability to bring them or not.
Remember that time that we have to do a meeting, and Ace actually brought his kid.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be the one presenting actually at that time.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna complain about it because you're your own business owner, and
Yeah.
you can decide what you need to do.
And that's the great thing about this. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why you probably looked at this business and you're like, well, you can kind of manage your time around your family. Your family's first, then you manage the business
Yeah.
around it.
And then there's one point before I forget. Just going back to that story you were saying, right? So you were working on your job at the time, and then you're doing this part time. At the time you got married, and then now the kid is coming, right? And of course you saw passion on the business, and that's why you kind of contemplating if should I just do this full time, since I'm also passionate about this business. And it's the same thing you're doing in your previous job, just helping other people in a different way, right? So when your kid come in, does that fuel more of that passion? Because sometimes like people say like, oh, you have to put your back against the wall and really push yourself. That's maybe what you need to push yourself and be motivated, right?
Right.
So did that kind
Actually,
of work?
that was a big motivator for me, because I was thinking to myself, man, like, I can do two things here now. My wife's working full time. I can decide to just stay home, just watch the kids, or do we make a difference? Like, so my kid's coming out. Like, I gotta work. So she was still in the oven,
Yeah.
she was still in the oven. So I tried to figure out, okay, if this is something I'm really passionate about, she's gonna be born in like 9 months. I've got to get my act together. Like, I've got to build this fast. Like, I've got to go. Like, so at that time, I would have meetings. So here's the difference between someone that's gonna make it, in my opinion, someone that's gonna make it than not, is if you're not passionate about that business or that career, you're not gonna go. Like, you've got to give it your all, man. You got to dedicate all the way to it. Sorry about that. So you got to dedicate everything to it. So when that was the shift that I had, the mindset shift, like a paradigm shift, that's like, you know what, I'm all in. I'm gonna go all in. That changes a lot of business, and I see that for a lot of agents. Yeah. So they go in the obstacle, like, no, I can't recruit, I can't sell.
Yeah.
I can't build a team. I can't present. I can't do this. I can't do that. And all these different excuses.
All the obstacles.
All the obstacles that they're talking about, and in reality, is because they haven't fully committed to the business.
And that's one way you can also look at it and think about it to motivate yourself too, is like, even despite of those obstacles, like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. This is the only choice I have. Because when my kids is coming out, and this is the only thing I know right now, instead of spending time learning something new, and I already have this in front of me.
Exactly.
Let me just dive in and use this as a vehicle for me to really grow in this business. So, that goes back, putting your back against the wall and just saying like,
forcing you.
this is a really thing I only have to do.
Yeah, it's like forcing you to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one good thing that happened to you, because you got forced to do it. It's very similar to what happened to me. I mean, I was the only one that's making money, and I jumped in this full speed. I mean, I didn't have part time.
Yeah,
I just jumped in there like in the pool,
Yeah.
But then it was forcing me to do better, because there's gonna be people that's depending on me, on the income and everything else. So it made me have the ability to succeed, because there's no error, there's no other way. There's no, like, if you don't succeed, it's only succeed, Because if you don't succeed, then that means there's no money on the table, or there's no money for the family.
That's right.
It's only one way.
See, and see, that's also another motivator. You got to talk about, you said you jumped all in, right?
Yeah.
You pretty much jumped in the pool, all in. And then it's not just like your own expectations. Now you're worrying about your team's expectations. Now, expectations, I think, is a good thing to talk about for passion, like, and really like motivating, because there is obstacles to how do I just become from a normal like manager of my team to really becoming a leader.
Yeah.
See, the thing that has to, you know, really fire you up is that you cannot lag behind as a leader.
Yeah.
Like you are watching, I mean, you're taking care of people's livelihoods now, right? They've trusted you, you built rapport with them, and you're gonna have to really work on, okay, I've made it. How do I help you to get to that spot? Now, here's the difference though of what's gonna take you, I believe, is take you to the next level is you've got to tell yourself, like, okay, if they're gonna make 100,000, I can't lag behind, because as the leader, you're always the one in front.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right? You're leading the people.
Yep.
And you're pushing people at the same time.
Yep.
And that makes you feel like, you know what, my back's against the wall. I can't let my team beat me.
You're
And
responsible.
to piggyback on that one too, and this is what I told my team as well. If you really treat it as a business owner, right? So for example, you open up a restaurant, for example, right? You're gonna hire a server, manager, cook, busboy, every employees,
staff, yeah.
right? And as a business owner of that restaurant, you have a responsibility to make sure that your people get paid.
Yeah.
Right? You have to make sure that the business goes well, and that way every Friday or every end of the month they get paid. And it's the same mentality you have to take in this business, that yes, everybody earns their own income, but you're technically still a business owner, and you have a team below you.
Yeah.
And if your team is not making money, it's your responsibility. Their livelihood is against, is dependent on you as a leader, because if they don't get paid, that means maybe you're lacking on something.
That's right.
So that's a very, very important, expectation as a leader as well. I need to make sure that my team gets paid, right? And the only way we can do that is through motivation them, supporting them, leading them on the right way. And sometimes maybe it's just a simple call and asking them what's going on.
Yep.
So going back about the time management. So now that you become full-time in this business, now you were in a position that now you can kind of control your time now.
Yeah.
And now you can kind of decide now, if I can't do this meeting today, and we were talking about this one too, most of the time, like, we have to do a meeting and we already have something planned on that day. And the good thing is we can leverage people now that, can you do this for me?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's more of flexibility, that you can kind of move around some of your meetings so you can attend to your priority, which is your family and your kids, right? And a good example was today, right? With your kids.
Yeah.
So they hit a milestone, right?
Yeah. First day of preschool. See, here's my thing. Like, life is always gonna throw you all these different obstacles, right? And we always think that, okay, next year's gonna get better. Next year's gonna get better. That's just something that we've got to get a mental mindset shift on this, and we got to talk about that. For example, like, I'm able to do this still full time, trying to figure out the situations with the kids, trying to figure out what to do with them. Finally, I have one kid now in preschool. Yeah. Now I have a little bit of some time to really focus a little bit more on the business.
Yeah.
But see, here's the thing that, and for those who have parents, who are parents, they do have kids, and they're trying to figure out, what's my situation right now? Like, how do I build this business? You cannot think of this business as something overnight.
No.
This is not something that's going to grow overnight. And you are going to have these challenges. Now, as a business owner, as an agency owner, and something that you really want to create passive income, you want to create something for you, you want to make your life something grand for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to figure out that, sure, like, there's stuff that you don't want to do. Like, it's things that you've always wanted to do. All these, been watching like Netflix shows, watching all these movies, or playing, all these different hobbies that you do, you may not have time for them.
No. Yeah.
Once you start to interject one of these these opportunities into your life, you're gonna get all these obstacles. Like, you're gonna all get all these excuses. We can even make obstacles are also excuses at some point. That formula is gonna be there. So like today, like for example, like today, like we said, my daughter finally went preschool.
Yeah.
I was so like, I was so
Congratulations.
sad right when she
I
left.
know how that feels.
I was so sad and
I know
happy
how
at the
that
same
feels.
time. All these different emotions.
Because you're so used to them being at home, you're just like, oh man, you're growing up.
Yeah, you know.
Next thing you know, it's college.
I mean, for me,
Look at me. I got a
I
college
like it too,
next
though.
year.
I do like it too, though, because I get to spend a little bit more time now in the business.
Yeah.
And that is an obstacle in itself. That's
yeah,
again,
but
another
not
obstacle
only
in itself.
that, the most important too is you get to be on that moment.
Yes.
You were in a position now that you have the ability to see those milestones in your kid's life.
Oh, yeah.
First preschool.
Yep. Not every dad can do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's one of the things that I actually loved about this business. It gave me that opportunity to take the kids, pick them up, take them to the game, watch their game. I mean, middle of the day, if I had to get them, I could get them, take them to lunch randomly. Those things. You get that opportunity, especially when your kids get a little older. Like, let's say they're in high school.
Mm-hmm.
We can take them out to lunch.
Yeah. See, like I'm like waiting. Like my son, who's still he's turning 2 this year. Here's what I'm trying to say. Like, especially for parents, there's gonna be so many obstacles for you. But if you can work it out.
Yeah.
Give yourself 2 years. No, actually give yourself just 1 year. 1 year to really figure out what you want to do with this business.
Yeah.
You're going to grow. Like you have to have a mentor with you that's really going to help you throughout the way, just like paving that way for you, paving that path. And you don't give up.
Yeah.
Right? Second, even with all these challenges with the kids, I'm not gonna we had there were times, right? You said it, like I had to bring my kids here, but you got to do what you got to do. And for a lot of parents, this is probably the best time of your life now, especially for new parents. Like, work hard these next 5 years.
Yeah.
The following 5 years, you can have a time of your life.
And I like what you said. Yeah. You have to sit down, plan what you need to do in this business.
Yep.
Let's say, I'm going to work for the next 2 to 3 years, and that way, then the next 4 to whatever years, I'm set.
Yeah.
I've already created stable income and business for my family. The problem is, most of the time, that's why people get stuck on a job. There's nothing wrong with it, but the thing is, they got stuck on that one because that pays the bills. It's already like, it's like a routine already that, I'm gonna get paid this much money every month as my salary, and that's why they stuck on it. Even they hated what they do, that pays the bills, and also that makes them close-minded on other opportunities, like joining the business or creating their own business, right? So the next one I want to talk about is is a lot of our associates also has multiple jobs.
Yep.
2-3 jobs.
Oh, man,
and then
yeah. A lot.
adding this one, I can kind of relate on that one too. I don't have multiple jobs when I started in the business, but I was in a position before that. I had this full-time job. I was kind of getting promoted multiple times on the first 2 years in my job, which is, I'm blessed and fortunate enough on that, because I like growth on myself.
Yeah.
But of course, the more promotion you get, the more job duties you get, the more responsibility, and the less time you have.
Yeah.
Right. So at that time, like you were saying, you really have to find your passion in this business. And at that time, the business was here, but I've kind of like just testing the waters, because I'm still, of course, you're still kind of on that momentum and that excitement. I'm getting promoted. I like what I'm doing right now. I don't want to change it. So I was in that position on that time that, the business is here and I'm doing this. And then at the same time too, it kind of just went like equal, that what I was doing in my job was training people. And it's the same time what I'm going to be expecting to do in this business is to train as well. So I came to a point that, I have to choose, like, do I continue this one or not? So one of the turning point at my time on my job was that if I want to grow more on the employee side, the next person I have to replace was my boss now, which is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's impossible to replace that person.
Yeah.
So I made a decision, like Fred said, you just have to fully engage in it and dive in that pool and just absorb it. So I came to a point like, okay, I cannot cut myself into half. I cannot be expected in this job while being expected to train my team. And at the time, we were opening offices on that year, like
Yep.
multiple offices, and I'm expected to be the trainers for all the offices at the time.
Yep.
So I remember like after I clocked out on my job, I just have to change my shirt and then go to the office. And I dreaded that traffic because I was driving like that time. We have Palm Desert, San Bernardino, and Cerrito. So
That was a lot.
And you know how easy it would have been for you to just quit?
Yeah.
Because you have,
It would have been easy.
you
So,
have that time to think about like,
exactly.
is
So
this really worth it?
yeah, so exactly. So it came to a point like I was getting burned out that I was keeps on doing that, and I just have to choose which one.
Oh, there
So
we go.
I decided like, okay, at least if I quit my job, I quit while I was in good terms, and I did everything, instead of like quitting because I'm already stressed out.
Yeah.
Right. So kind of like in boxing, right? You have to quit boxing while you're still a champion.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's kind of like I was
Yeah.
thinking. So I decided, I told my business partner, which is my mom, I said, I'm going to quit the job. I'm just going to do this full time.
She was probably happy.
She told me to try it. Okay, try it for 6 months first. And I said, no, if I'm going to do this, I'm
You
just
have to
going to
go.
pick one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big
You know?
jump.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes people, we talk about safety
Yeah.
nets. You talked about like we do that, and
Yeah.
again, like you said, there's nothing wrong with working. There was something that I read. I can't remember where. So I think you guys sent it to me. Like, there's nothing wrong with working 9 to 5, but also building something from 5 to 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's nothing wrong with that. Like
Yeah.
that's something that
That's
you should
true.
really.
That's a good one.
to get ahead
like
in
that.
life. Go do your 9 to 5, pay those bills, but don't be stuck there. Do something from 5 to 9 to get yourself ahead.
And that can
That's right.
replace your 9 to 5.
That can replace your 9 to 5.
Yeah, so I wasn't that. Yeah, that was a perfect example too, because at the time, like, well,
The meetings are nighttime. That's
yeah,
why.
and I was. I mean,
Yeah.
in a way, I don't have kids. I don't have kids. I don't have wife, so I don't have really that pressure on me.
Yeah.
The
The extra stuff.
Yeah, but like for me at the time, it's like, okay, if I quit my job, I'll lose my benefits, I lose this, I lose that. Then what do I do now? Like I'm on my own, right? So that's one of the biggest key factor. And I said, like, you know what? I'll just figure it out. How does business owner figure it out? Why does people chose not to work and do this, and they're making it work? So I just decided to quit my job at the time and did this full time. And I think that was the best decision of my life. I even like time to time, like before, kind of miss working, and I kept looking, and then it will like dawn on me, like, do I really want to work again? And
Yeah.
be stuck on that 9 to 5 job,
Yeah.
So when I made that decision and do this, now I see that, okay, like what you said, if I can earn the same amount of money in here, but I have more time, then it just makes sense to do this one,
Yeah.
Exactly.
right? Why would I do this one and get paid the same amount by I'm selling my time, my life to
Yeah.
that job, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, like, okay, this is
When you
really,
decided.
yeah.
No, I mean, like one thing is like when people say just do it, like that saying with Nike.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, like people that are successful or have made it in the world just did it. I mean, that's usually like with our business, just do it.
They put the effort in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing about people saying that, oh, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
You're so lucky. But the thing is, and you can talk about all these different formulas. You work hard enough, luck will always get to you because you put the time, you put the effort in.
Yeah. Luck is just a small percentage of what happens.
Yeah, we could have been lucky, but if you weren't working on it,
Yeah.
if you weren't putting the time or effort
Yeah.
into it, you're not going to get that opportunity to get
Yeah.
that luck, right?
And the thing is, what I was thinking as well is, let's say I did this full time. Of course, you have to think all of the necessary things, so you can be prepared. So what if I failed on this one, right? The only thing is, at least I tried it. At least now I know if I fail, I can just go back because I still have my license. I still have my degree. I can still go back, right? So that's why I'm not saying like quit your school, quit your, those things you can still use at life, but at least you always have a backup.
The skills that you always had.
Yeah. So it's the same mentality as building as well, a builder's mindset. Like I told my team, each of the people that we face or meet in this business, right? Came from different walks of life, have different degrees, have different jobs, but those skills that you learn from what you're doing, you can apply the same thing in here. It's just a different environment. It's a different industry, right? Like we have agents that was in a managerial position. So they used to hire people, they used to fire people, they used to train people, right? It's the same concept you're going to apply here.
Yeah.
It's just a different industry, So you don't have to make it complicated. Oh, if I'm gonna be a builder in this business, oh, it's in the insurance industry. I don't know how to do that. I don't know. You've already been doing it. You just have to adjust and adapt on the new industry. And I'm sure you guys have the same thing too on your team.
Yeah.
There was actually a video that you sent to us today. I think it was by Gary V, to go from 1 million to 100 million.
Yeah, too.
Yeah,
Okay,
was
now I
good.
was like, okay, 1 million to 100 million. Okay, so let's put that in perspective, like for people who are just like, just working from a job.
Yeah.
Okay, so like you just said, like those who are managers, you have the skill set already of working with people, right? You just got to put that in here. But if you think about it, a lot of the people that we work with are not managers.
No.
Yeah.
They're not managers. They're people who are working a full-time job. They're regular employees. They're regular people. They come in, now they've got to start managing the business or managing. See, the thing that when you sent that video, there was something that he said there specifically, is that if you want to go from 1 million to 100 million, you've got to work. You got to know how to work with people.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, it's about
People.
It's not about all these numbers. It's not all about
relationship.
It's relationships. Yeah, it's how you get yourself to be connected with that person. So at the end of the day, now it doesn't have to be from 1 million to 100 million. It could be from those who want to be from 50,000 to 100,000, or from 100,000 to 500,000. It's all about how can we get that relationship with the people. And I think that's one of the biggest obstacles that people don't get, is that, I just gotta do this. I just gotta put my head down, keep going forward,
Yeah.
keep trudging, keep trying to make sales. But the solution is you gotta be good at being with people. Now there was something that was really good that he talked about there. He said about like, okay, what if you're just not good
Yeah.
with creating those relationships with people? Then partner with somebody.
Yeah,
In
someone
our
else that's
case,
good at
recruit somebody. Talk to your mentor. Talk to your manager.
dude.
Yeah.
And that's been the big thing.
Leverage.
That's the key. Like, I believe to be successful, you have to be a people person. I mean, it's just like those big time guys. I mean, like you see, let's say, I'll give you an example. Let me see who's big. Well, I'll talk about like Kobe. Kobe is probably really famous, and not only for basketball, but I heard like when he does motivational speaking.
Yeah, his mentality is different.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mamba mentality.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's out there. Like it's not like how regular people think. And the good thing about it, he's still approachable. He's still people, like he has relationships, he has communication, and that's the biggest thing. I think it's just our connection. How do we connect to somebody? How can we have that ability to build a team? Because in order for us to build a team, we have to connect with our team, and then them connecting to other people so that your team gets bigger. I mean, it's just.
And another thing, talking about basketball. So I saw this video from Giannis, right?
Yeah.
He's not that type of person that like kind of good on people, but what inspires people and how he makes good relationship is his work ethic. He's the first one on the gym, training hard, even it's just by himself.
Yeah.
And when people see that, like, oh, why is this person on the gym already at this time? Like, that's not even our call start, right? It inspires people. It influences. So even you might not be on good like talking or communication wise, or you're not that type of person that can be friends with anyone. Sometimes your body language, your work ethic can also be a way to be in a good relationship with others.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you can meet someone that can talk to anyone, but can have a good relationship.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. There's a lot of people like that. It's a lot of talk. There's nothing that you're building because it's just a lot of smoke coming through. I mean, the good thing is if you have that ability and that talent that you can relate to people, that's the biggest thing. I mean, that word relate is the key. Like, we can relate to each other, you and I. I mean, it's just those things are what defines your relationship with that person.
It's really, in going there, it's really about empathy.
Yeah.
You got to be empathetic, man. Like, and that's what's gonna change. That's what's gonna change you in this business. If you can learn the skill of of empathy, you're gonna do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is a people person.
I mean, like, I got a story. Like, I had a Asahi Bowl with my jiu-jitsu guys, my friends. I don't know if we could talk about this.
That's fine.
Yeah, so we have, two of them. One of them his wife was diagnosed with leukemia. That's
Oh,
cancer,
wow.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So that was a year ago, and now she's kind of getting out of it, and she's going through all the treatment. And then my other friend, his daughter just turned 18. She had a lump right here, so she got cancer here too.
18 years old.
Yeah, and she's fully healthy. She got a full ride to Berkeley. I believe it's a full ride to Berkeley for tennis. She had a choice, Berkeley or Chicago.
Wow.
She's fully healthy and everything, but they're unexpected. But it's so weird. Like I told him, I don't usually sell policies, but I'm not trying to sell you guys, but I wish, like, I met you before that, or not met you. I wish I shared it with you, because I don't really share it. And the only reason why is because I don't want to come off like trying to sell it to you guys.
Yeah.
I told them that straight up. And they were like, dude, let me, like I told them a little bit about the living benefits, and they're like, man, I can't believe that. I wish you did say that. And I feel bad because I wish I did. But they're like, well, doesn't matter. You know, you caught my ear. Like, I'm interested. You know, I need some quotes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's just like that easy. Like, that's why I was thinking, in our business, when people say they can't find a sale, or they don't know how to sell, they don't have that's an excuse, because I think there's always a sale.
Yeah.
It just matters on how you do it.
Yeah,
Like, you
and
can't-
that's a good point. I know we're kind of coming on the time now, but I kind of touched this one too, because it's really important, is that, you know, especially on the business, especially for younger generation, they're scared on talking to their friends, because in this business, there's a high chance you're going to lose a lot of your friends.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Once you start what you're doing, because it's either your friends the real friends is going to support you. The other friends is like, oh, you just need money from me, or something like that. Or the other ones are just going to bring you down just because they don't want you to see you succeed, right?
Yep.
And that's the reality of it, that, you know, you're going to lose a lot of friends in this business. But if they do listen to you, and you told them about it, you're the first person they're going to thank if in case something happens, because you shared what you do.
Actually, I'll share you guys a story, and this may relate to a lot of people, you know, listening to this podcast. You said it, you know, as you get away from a normal job and into a business that you are gonna start to become successful.
Yeah.
You used to probably have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And soon as you start doing this more, you start making more money, you start being successful, people start seeing your social media, whatever it may be, you start to figure out, like, man, my friend list is actually getting a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And you can figure out why is that,
your
right?
circle is getting smaller.
Circle's all getting smaller. Well, it actually happened to me. You know, one of my good friends that, you know, used to hang out with, you know, ever since high school, started seeing social media, started seeing, like, oh, what, you're not doing a job anymore? Are you doing this? Or you're making that much? Or, you know, you have all this stuff. Like, so I was like, I just don't want to hang out, because, like, you're not doing the stuff that we're doing normally.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's stuff that you wouldn't do if you're in business.
You're not a normal person.
Yeah, you're not a normal person anymore. Like, see, that's the thing. Like, you have to figure out to yourself. You got, you know, when we talk about passion, I'm going to go back full circle if this is okay. I'm going to go back to full circle. Talk about passion. If you want to make a change in your life, you've got to find that catalyst that's going to make you change.
Yeah.
And if it's this business that is going to do that, like, you have to realize in the beginning that you are going to be different from the friends that you are normally hanging out with.
Yeah.
Because they just want you to stay the same.
Yeah.
So they can just hang out with you. They can just go ahead and you guys can just all be, I mean, excuse my word, you can be either just miserable together, or you can be that person to stand up and just say, you know
Make a
what?
change.
I'm going to make a change.
Do you guys
from now
ever
on.
feel like when you hang out with your friends, like, not friends from, like, our company, but
Yeah.
like, friends, like, it's like
It's a little
they
different.
avoid talking
Yeah,
about
talking about business. Like,
Yeah.
just,
like
but
what you do.
Yeah.
Or they don't ever ask. They don't ask. They just see
don't
you have
ask.
all this nice stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny because I actually want to piggyback that one. Like, till today, my friends, they think I'm in this multi-level marketing, and they're just like, that's what they think. And the only reason why is because one of my friends, the one that drives a Tesla, told me that's what
they
everyone
think
thinks.
about. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's cool. That's the reason why they, like, kind of, like, brush
Yeah.
me off, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's one of those, you know, overnight things, blah blah blah, kind of thing. Like, but now they're, like, looking at, like, dude, where is he doing? Why is he making this much, this and that? And that's
And you're still doing the same thing.
Same thing.
You know, when we met you.
and it motivated me. I'm like, even more. I'm like, yeah, well, we'll see what this multi thing that you think it is.
Yeah.
You know?
For me, if there's something I can also if there's something I can live with is that people will always say, you know, things to you, right? Somebody's calling. So people will like always still whatever you do, even you meant good on what you do. People will always say something, right?
Yeah.
Behind you, in front of you.
I think they're
beside
like
you.
negative about it.
Yeah. So, you know, because like what Ace said, right? You know, sometimes you're gonna, let's say you're gonna post something. Oh, I got this new car, or I got this one. Oh, I took my kids to Disneyland. It's not because you want to brag about it, but because you're happy that you're now able in this position to do that, you know, to your kids, or able to live that dream, that you want to share that passion to others. It's still gonna come off wrong to other people. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
oh, you're bragging. Oh, now because you're
No,
making
not
money.
even
That's
that.
exactly
like,
right.
like what happens is you get put in a category of like the W, like not the the that category
Yeah.
of those guys that
Yeah.
that just would do this business and make that money.
Yeah.
And it's like I think about, I'm like, do you guys even know like that guy? Like, let's say for example that person that makes that money in this industry. You don't know like how hard it took him to build that. You don't know the sacrifices he did.
Exactly.
And not only that, he's living it up, like living in a better situation than you and most millionaires do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and most of the time too, like, yeah, I understood, like, some people really money changed them, you know, but some people stayed the same way. But the thing is, like, once they see you make it, like, they already know you're a different person, like, judging you already without even like talking to you, right? So that's why sometimes, like for me too, like, I tried to make sure like I'm still the same person when I started this business, you know. So like, if like I still get not used to like saying, oh, this is how much money you make, this is how many businesses
me
you
too.
have, things like that, like, because I wasn't raised like that, and it's hard for me to come out because I know it's gonna sound wrong on the other
Yeah,
end,
you're
right?
humble about it.
Yeah. And then once you're like, oh, when somebody said, oh, did you guys know that this person earns this money or own this business, like, and then they was, oh, you do that and you didn't tell us, you know, because that's just because
weird.
I don't,
Yeah, it's
you
weird to
know,
say it.
it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like awkward position.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's like regardless of what you do, is like people are still gonna say something,
Yeah.
you know. But the people that really knows you, and that's why they say surround people with the same mentality as you. Even you can just have a smaller circle. At least they know what you're doing. Is that passion that you guys have can, you know, change someone's mindset as well eventually. It might take time, or sometimes it might not change their mind. But at least they know that what your intentions are pure. You know, it's not just because you're making money.
Exactly. I
Right.
mean, I totally agree with you. Like, people will see no matter what they want to see
Yeah.
on social media, or whatever you post, and you're not bragging about it. You know, you're really showing like, hey, this is what I'm doing. You know, and the thing is, no matter what, you got to think about it this way. Whatever people put on social media, those are your highlight reels of your life.
Yeah.
Those are the highlight reels. No one's gonna post all the bad stuff. And exactly what you said, you don't know what that person went through to sacrifice to get to where they're at. And if we can just take that whole part about like, you know what, that's what I've done. It really needs to bring out to the limelight, like, hey, this is what I did to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And let's get away from all these obstacles. Let's figure out how to work with these obstacles, work on these excuses to just make yourself a better person, right? Better entrepreneur.
And that's actually the goal of our podcast.
Yep.
And that's a good ending because we
right.
actually are ending.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right.
See you guys next week.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.